Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever may be the case. Y'all know my name, Cecil Young, coming to you live and in color from Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut. You know I've shown you this stuff in the past pertaining to my civil rights being violated, so I'm again showing you it again. The reason why I'm showing it to you again is because I want y'all to follow along, all right, with my assistant who will reflect exactly on what the labor board said pertaining to my unjust termination, how they covered it up. And that's why I say we as Americans should not be put in situations like this where we could appoint higher elected officials with the intelligence that these folks have to do what they did to me and think they can get away with it. And I'm saying to the public at large, please follow along with us as I will show you, and I will also play for you, like I said last week, I will play for you excerpts of Dr. Evans' voice, excerpts of Jody Porter's voice, excerpt of Mike Coad's voice, and Gerald Wayner. These are the people that were involved in the cover-up. And that's why I'm saying to you, please follow along with me, because again, I wanted to go to open phone, but right now I'm saying, let me keep these documents going to you, because someone has to respond to these lies by these elected officials. So I'm going to first ask my assistant, would you please reflect on what the Labor Board said pertaining to these documents that I'm bringing forward?
Yes. This is statement or summary by the State of Connecticut Department of Labor Board of Mediation and Arbitration. Generally speaking, the union also claims that the city has not sustained its burden of proving that the grievant is in violation of the attendance policy. Discussion. When considering disciplinary matters, it is universally recognized that the employer, as the moving party, bears the burden of providing the element of the case against the grievant. Here, that case consists of demonstrating that the conduct proscribed absenteeism was a legitimate concern of the employer, that the employee was aware of the policy involved and has been shown to have violated. Essentially, the grievant has been shown to have been absent for work for a period of almost a month. He was therefore required to present a medical certificate explaining his absence. There does not appear to be any particular formality attached to the requirements of a medical certificate other than that it be acceptable to the appointing authority, for example, the grievance superior. A further condition, presumably, would be that the appointing authority's acceptance of a certificate not be unreasonably withheld. Excuse me. In this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks. Excuse me. For several weeks and attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper. Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Yes, all right.
2 of them were signed by a nurse. The one was signed allegedly by a doctor, did not contain any description of the grievance ailment or diagnoses of any kind. Interesting enough, in a separate missive, Dr. Walters noted that he was not treating the grievant for the condition on which the grievant was blaming his troubles, but had referred the grievant to a psychiatrist. The conclusions are inescapable that the grievant was or should have been aware of the policy, that he was in violation of it, and what the consequences would be of a continued failure to comply with it. We further note the allegation of hostile work environment are not born out of credible evidence presented, and the award, the grievant is denied.
Sad, sad, sad. You know, again, isn't it a shame that you would have these labor board commissioners sit up here and cover up for this crime, which is termed basically violating the public's trust? I was a member of the NAID union contract. Okay, as a NAID union member of the city of Bridgeport, okay, The union gives us the benefits showing that, okay, those terminated employees have a right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance within a timely fashion. Now, ma'am, could you please, my assistant, could you please read exactly what was the reason why I was fired for? We just heard the labor board commissioners cover up that part, and I'm gonna show you that everything that they said was a lie. They intentionally tried to mislead you on evidence pertaining to evidence that I gave them, which is a shame and a disgrace, which I will show you in a little while, and I will also play it for you as well. Now, would you please read the reason why I was terminated?
Yes, this is from the Department of Health and Social Services, the Labor Relations Department of the City of Bridgeport, addressed to you. The reason is unauthorized absence. Dear Mr. Young, the letter is dated, by the way, March 20th, 2006. You were advised via a letter from the Labor Relations dated 3/10 that you must return to work immediately or you would be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the City of Bridgeport. As of Friday, 3/17, you have not returned to work. There is no valid reason for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered unauthorized, and your employment with the city is hereby terminated effective immediately. If you have any questions, please call your union representative. And this was sent by Marion Evans, Director of Health and Social Services.
And who was this sent to? What department heads? Labor Relations, Jody Paul, and who else? Benefits and Age?
Labor Relations, the NAGE President, the city's attorney, and Janet Finch, the grants personnel and file.
Now, did you hear that? These here folks know better. They said that I was terminated, okay? What troubles me is that how could they get away with lying on a whistleblower who complained about contaminated dirt piles that our kids were playing on? To have Jody Paul from Labor Relations and then NAGE union contract telling them personally to reinstate me back and make me whole, for them to ignore that. And for the city attorney, Mark Anastasia, to sit up here and allow this stuff to go on, to cover it up as a shame and a disgrace. It said that I got terminated for not coming to work, yet and still here's a time card here showing, okay, that on March 16, 2006, I did come to work. I came to work, why? Because I was told that if I did not return to work, I would be deemed as voluntarily resigned, okay? And that knew that, well, that I needed to come to work because I needed the medical benefits and I needed what I was going through to be covered, which is my wife who was going through a lot of sickness because of all this stress that had been put on her as a result when we dealing with this matter. Here you have down here on this March 16, 2006, I came to work and indicated that on March 17th I would be going for a colon exam. It's in black and white. Up here it's in black and white too as well. My assistant, Atha, at the time, okay, this is Dr. Evans, the secretary assistant, who indicated that Cecil Young would be leaving at 10:30, 11 o'clock, 10:30 to pick up flowers because he had planned on getting married with his fiance, okay? At which time she agreed and made a note of that. This is Dr. Evans' secretary, her supervisor, my supervisor at the time, indicating that I would be leaving at 10:30. All right, she left at 10:30. All right, so for the labor board to give the impression, all right, that my doctor was not treating me as well is another disgrace and a shame. Here you have Dr. Wainick. Do we have that one with Dr. Wainick?
Yes.
Indicating what he said?
Yes. This is from Dr. Wainick's office. To whom it may concern, this is dated April 4, 2006. Mr. Cecil Young has been followed by me medically for several years. Recently, he was referred to Dr. Mark Wainick due to worsening stress-related symptom. Duration of treatment is not known at this point. So this is signed off by Dr. Albert F. Walters, MD.
And that's what's so sad about this, to have the labor board sit up here and say that my doctor was not treating me at all, when clearly my doctor here shows that he was treating me. And here's the signature by Dr. Albert Walters. But yet and still the labor board said that the complainant was never really being treated by Dr. Walters, which was an outright lie. Why would he lie again, the labor board? Why would they lie? I thought they'd be there to protect the public, not to cover up for those of them that violate the public's trust, and that's what they did,
yes.
Okay? And what add insult to injury is that here it is in 2005, okay? All right? I was treated for a leg injury in 2005. You see here, this is a loop. This is the same loop that Dr. Walter used in 2006, showing that in 2006 I needed to be off from 2027 to 328 for a month because I was being pressured so much to a point where I felt like I needed to be away from the job because they would agitate me to a point where I felt like I might lose it. So I said, let me get on out of here. So I started using my sick time, my vacation time, whatever I had. Remember now, I had 35 hours that I was working in the beginning, but because of these terminated dirt piles that I complained about, they cut my hours down to 20 hours, which allowed me to still keep my benefits, okay? Along with the harassment, I took it, okay? And what also added insult to injury, he called these doctor's notes literally scraps of paper. This is Dr. Walter in 2006. They call that a scrap of paper, okay? In 2005, this is the same letterhead from Dr. Walters in 2005.
And
it wasn't no
faxed as well.
And then here it is in 2006, when they told me that it was still not accepted because it was not signed by a doctor, they did not give a diagnosis. Here is evidence that in 329 they gave a diagnosis as to what I was being treated for, and it was faxed. How do you fax a scrap of paper to a doctor's office, to a city department, called a scraps of paper? And that's what the labor board called it. Mr. Chairman Murphy called it a scraps of paper. It was not scraps of paper. This is a full doctor's note that was faxed over to the health director, showing that he was treating me for extreme anxiety. That was a personal matter that should never even have been exposed, but it was disclosed. Why? Because they covered it up. And it's add insult to injury. I say, how do they cover it up? They're doing it by, here it is. It said, on that other folder I had, where it said that NAGE employees have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they file agreements within a timely fashion. Okay? And that's what I did. I filed agreements within a timely fashion. All right? I filed agreements within a timely fashion. Do you have that one with you? Or do you just read that one there?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. This is a settlement agreement dated October 10th, 2007, between the City of Bridgeport and NAGE. The grievant, Cecil Young, whereby the parties hereby agreed to the following. 1, the grievant Cecil Young employment with the City of Bridgeport was terminated on March 20th, 2006.
On March 20th, I was terminated on March 20th, not 2016, not 2017. I was terminated on March 20th. Even though I've just shown you evidence that I was at work, I was threatened to be at work. As of March 10, 2006, and March 17th, I was denied any medical leave by Jody Paul or either by Janet Finch. Yet and still, they sent a termination letter on the 3 or 4 days after the fact, on the 20th, saying I was terminated for not coming to work. You've seen me show you the time card. You've seen me show you the hours that I worked. I had a pay stub, check stub, showing that I got paid. Go ahead, my dear, continue on.
Number 2, section of 19.5 of the collective bargaining agreement states that the health benefits provided for under section 19.1 and 19.2, quote, shall continue to be provided for terminated employees who have filed a timely grievance of such termination under this agreement until a final decision on such grievance is arbitration or 6 months from the date of termination, whichever is sooner, unquote. 3, this 6-month period following Mr. Young's termination would have expired on September 20th, 2006. 4, on 4/7/2006, Young submitted retirement paperwork and began receiving pension benefit as well as health benefits provided for under section 19.1 of the contract, excluding the Cigna dental plan benefit under 19.1C. 5, during the 6-month period of 3/20/2006 to 9/20/2006, there were several claims submitted to Cigna Dental from Fairfield Dental Home, Andrea Torina, DMD, on behalf of Mr. Cecil Young and his dependents. These claims were denied by Cigna because Mr. Young was no longer covered under the city group plan. Now, therefore, the city will activate coverage for Mr. Young on the Cigna dental plan for a 6-month period as mentioned above. As a result, Cigna Dental will cover the city's portion of the claim that would have been paid if Mr. Young were kept on the city group dental plan. Under the city group plan, there is an out-of-pocket expense for employees since Cigna does not cover 100% of the cost for dental claims. Therefore, any outstanding balance after Cigna pays its portion of such claim would be the responsibility of Mr. Young. And finally, the city will also authorize Cigna Dental to cover its portion of any claim submitted outside of such 6-month period, only if such procedures, and it continues.
And you know, you hear what she just said, that the city owed me that obligation because I was a part of the NAID union contract, okay, which automatically clearly says that if you file a grievance in a timely fashion, which I did within that 20-day period, as a matter of fact, it was the next day after I got terminated, to have them turn around and to hold my benefits up for 2 years. For 2 years, okay, I come to find out, all right, in 2008, unbeknown to me, that the city so-called, by Mike Cohad, Gerald Weiner, okay, and some other commissioner, so-called allegedly approved it after 2 years. After 2 years of me waiting for them to respond to it when it was given to them in 2006.
Right.
From
And this is,
2006, they allowed it to go on where I was not being treated. And I couldn't get treated because the Dr. Trina wanted to know where the money was going to come from when we were not being treated.
And this was outlined on 10/10/2007.
So that was outlined in 2000, giving them a contract, reminding them of that matter, but they still ignored it. And I don't need it now, I think, right? I mean, basically, that's why I'm saying what's so troubling is that my dental needs got worsened. And then they said to me, why come it was delayed? It was delayed because they committed fraud. I said, Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohad, okay, they committed fraud and they need to be exposed what they did to me. I mean, believe me, I had here at that time State Rep Ernest Newton, who at the time was on the East End, and I asked him to come and look at these piles, okay? So he knew what these piles. I spoke to public officials about these piles. I contacted the press. Mike Daly, managing editor of the Connecticut Post, he did several articles about me speaking about different issues pertaining to the Public Housing Authority in terms of putting more police in public housing. Housing Authority woes about monies being spent where it shouldn't be spent and using it where it need to be spent, which is cleaning up some of the human waste that was allowed to flow in the basement. Instead of them having a container to contain that human waste, they let it flow to the floor. So I complained about that. I complained about issues all my life pertaining to this city, especially pertaining to where I grew up in, which was the P.T. Barnum Housing Project. And I'm sorry for the city that it cost them $250,000 to remove these contaminated dirt piles, that these kids were sliding up and down on them, thinking that they're sliding up and down on dirt enough piles to a point where it wouldn't cause them any physical harm, where it wouldn't cause their family physical harm. Yes, they can come down with cancer and other disease. They couldn't imagine where it came from. Just behind them so-called going out thinking they're on top of a snow mountain because it was covered with snow at the time, because it was snowing during that time when they felt like they could slide up and down on the piles when they were left there, okay? It was over covered in the beginning with light enough slacks or plastic for them to slide down on it, but the bottom line is that they slide down on it. Those piles should have been never left there for months. And as I say to the city of Bridgeport, shame on you, okay, for firing me because of that, all right? Now what I'm gonna do is now show you Dr. Evans showing that I did come to work. I'm gonna point out to you, okay, some things that were said with Dr. Evans, okay, and I'm gonna point out to you some of the things that were said to Jody Paul. Now the labor board gave the impression that I didn't come to work. Jody Paul terminated me. Dr. Evans terminated me based on the fact that they said I didn't come to work, even though she signed off on me coming to work, even though I will play a voice from her showing that she acknowledged me coming back to work, okay, which I will play for you in a moment, which I didn't play for you last week, but I will play it for you this week. But as I play it, I want you to go along with what was said, because my assistant took some of what was said and broke it down in words and language where you can read along with what's being said. I don't want to talk while it's being played because it's a little stagnated, it's a little grassy, so it may be a little irritated to you for a moment. But please do listen to the evidence. Listen to this. No one is above the law. No one. I don't care, black or white, Puerto Rican, Jew, what have you. No one is above the law. So don't get hung up on me sometime when I use words that may offend me, make me feel like what I felt like when I said what I said that caused them to ban me from speaking at City Hall for 3 years, okay? And again, I say, I want you to hear this evidence and hear the facts. But before I continue on, let me please stop for a moment and say, Charles, that was one of the most magnificent family homegoing for yourself, for speaking out about issues that you felt were important enough for you to speak out about. So I want to commend that child for that homegoing that he had, because that was one that apparently was worthwhile having for him. Around the world, people from all over the country, from all over the world came out, put flowers out, wrote letters, praised him for all the things that he tried to do. Yes, some things he might have said were very controversial. I'm not speaking about what he said or didn't say. All I'm saying is that what I seen yesterday, I watched the show for close to 4 to 5 hours because I wanted to hear a little bit about this man, knowing that he was, 18 years old, and God gave him enough wisdom to want to say, let me use what God has given me to help make a difference in people's lives. So he formed an organization that multiplied and began to duplicate and began to spread out around the country to a point where people showed up, and they showed out on his behalf. Wasn't no stones, wasn't nobody bitter, and there was nobody throwing no bricks. They showed out because they were concerned about what he'd been saying. So I say to that brother, commend you for your efforts and what you did. And I hope that you're looking down on this crowd that was at the arena the other night and say you feel real good about it, even though you would like to be down there with us. But God said he knew what he was doing when he took you home, because as a young man, you made a difference in a short period of time. As they say, it's not how long you live, it's what you did while you were living. And you did enough to remind folks that, yes, if he can do it, I can do it. I think he was, 2 years less older than what Jesus Christ was before he was persecuted? Huh? So, child, you were in good standing with someone who was out there trying to do right for people as best you know how. Yes, there may some people that may be criticize you for some of the things that you said or did not say, but again, you had the right to say it. In America, we have a right to correct ills. We have a right to check rights and wrongs. That's why they put erasers on pencils, to correct right from wrong. So, child, your wife says she's going to carry your legacy from here on out, and I say to you, why not? Because for those folks to show up the way they did around this country shows us that, yes, you might have polarized and caused some people to want to doubt where you're coming from, but the bottom line is that there were a lot of people that liked where you were coming from, and they showed up and they showed out. So I commend you, and I hope that you will continue with the Spirit through your wife to continue your legacy and keep those folks involved, because that's the key to success, is get involved. You have to get involved. If you want to legislate, you have to participate. So again, I'm not going to prolong this too long, because again, I said I'm going to waste my time on me instead of just we. At the moment, it's about me, because I'm the one who's being persecuted. So again, I'm going to play this tape recording, and I want you to hear part of what Dr. Evans said. Because again, it's one thing to say what somebody said, it's another thing to hear from their mouth of what they said. Now here's what Dr. Evans said pertaining to if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. You will hear her acknowledge the fact and accepting me back to work on March 16, 2006. Dr. Evans. And did you hear that Dr. Evans make the remark about Oh, I made you sick again. Yes, it was true. She did make me sick. She made me very aggravated to a point where I wanted to leave work, so I began to take off time from work instead of getting fired. So let me finish and play the recording before I lose my time on making these other points. Now, when Dr. Evans get off the phone, you're going to hear her clearly say they accept me back to work on that day on March 16, 2006. Listen to that after she get off the phone. You heard Dr. Evans acknowledge me being back to work. I'm going to confirm it with my supervisor as well. So we're told that I will be going for a colon exam the following day. After 27 years of working with the city, how can I be sitting here and be explaining this like the way she's trying to say another? This is wrong. I'm saying you point blank. I have an audio tape recording of Dr. Evans and the folks. Now, the fact that I came to work on the 15th, on the audio tape, it will confirm. It will say, here's how it went. I showed up on that day, on the 15th. Good morning, Dr. Evans. No. I told you something to work. Okay. So, the work is working. I'm going to take on the report. Did they know you did that? No, he didn't. I don't think it is, to be honest. I don't think it is. What property? Well, because the bottom line is that I showed up to work on that day. I indicated that I'm here against my doctor's will. The doctor indicated I should be out for such and such to the month. I came back with my doctor's will 13 days. After being out for 13 days, I came back within that 13-day period because I was threatened. But I did not return to work. I would be doing that voluntary resign. Because of that, I feared I would lose my benefits, lose my job, my years of service. I came back to work. I came back to work with the doctor. I'm here. So at 12 o'clock, I have to leave. At 10:30, I have to leave because I'm going to get married today. You know, I'm going to get married today at 12 o'clock. Joe Graham is going to be married at 12 o'clock. I asked Joe that we do that day. Before that, he was married. Paul is married. He didn't do that. At 10:30, I told Pete and Dr. Evans, which is on the recorder, but both of us confirmed. He just said, congratulations. Dr. Evans said, you can leave if you want to leave, but, I'm not going to pay you for that time. Dr. Evans, I do not expect you to pay me for the time that I do not work, but I am here because against my doctor's will. Because the doctor said I should be out for that whole month, but I'm here against my doctor's will because I'm fear that you will fire me, and I need my medical benefits because I have high blood pressure, I have high cholesterol, I have thyroid, my wife is sick, my daughter going through problems. I mean, we need our medical benefits. I'm glad my family was sick. We need a medical benefit. So we got married that same day at 12 o'clock. I did. You see the phone so on that day, the next day, we said I would not have this for the 17th, but I have a phone and go to 12 o'clock. So you accepted that. You got some names confirming that I was there on the 16th. The 17th showing that I was going to the corner thing on the 17th. But yet, still, they still sent the letter out over the weekend. Was landed that Monday saying that I was fired for not returning to work. That's what she keeps on saying. And the literal result was resigned or was terminated was solely on direct. Oh, what? We're not sure. We're not sure. The party heard that. The number of large tanks, city views to it, with about one incident. With about one incident. That's not reason.
get healed. And what I'm saying when it comes to us, I don't want to make a decision. Do we have to consider the other panel what it is for? No, I don't think so. It's not. I mean, based on the evidence that's for the law, the only way we can, what was his favorite if he was terminated? If he wasn't terminated, we're not here. We got evidence that he was not going but he was terminated, though.
Here's what's so sad about that. I would like to go on a little longer, but I really want to remind you all of the importance of what I've just shown you. I've shown you documentations. I've shown you audio tapes with Dr. Evans' voice, Jody Paul's voice, Mike Coad's voice, as well as Gerald Wayner. These are folks that were involved in this cover-up, and this is why I said to the public, all right, I as a whistleblower should have been protected, should have been covered to some degree, and to treat me like this is a shame and a disgrace. But I want to also, for the moment, thank Councilman George Cruz, who talked to Ernest Newton, Councilman Newton, and Anita to ask them of the importance of responding to my issue. You see, they wrote a letter asking that I meet with the department head, the mayor's department heads from labor relations and other departments, the mayor's special assistants, to discuss to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. That's all I ask for. As a taxpayer, as a homeowner, as a whistleblower, I don't ask for no special privilege. I don't ask for no break. All I say is that be fair and be impartial. Okay, you don't have to use the word to make me feel like I'm being treated like the N-word. Yes, I use the N-word openly, would outright call it the black Mac man and so on. Not just to agitate, but just to make a point, because it's not about being black and white, because the council is pretty well conformed to blacks and Puerto Ricans and whites. So it's not about me saying to the council that you are racist. Okay, just that I feel like, as a taxpayer, for me to have all this information, to have City Councilman Ernest Newton and Anita request from the City Council, all right, to have a meeting to discuss the show of whether or not the city was justifiable in firing an employee who'd been working with the city for 27 and a half years, okay, to just be terminated and to have his medical benefits be denied and to be treated like he said, the N-word. Not that he wanted to use the outward code word that makes you feel like, what did he say? Well, what I said was no more than what's being said on TV, what's been said on shows, what's been said in the past. I believe in free speech. And free speech, sometimes you have to mention words that some folks may be offended by, but the bottom line, we have a right in America to say it. As long as I'm not offending you or trying to target you or try to hurt you, you should not want to take this personally, but look at me as someone who has the right to speak. That's what Kurt did, okay? Charlie did. He had a mind, and his mind was set towards wanting to do something that he felt he could do, and I'm sure that God has blessed him with the power to speak truth to people to a point whereby he had overwhelming crowds of folks that showed up out there giving his support, and I'm sure that his family felt quite good, so his living was not in vain. You know, like I said before, Jesus Christ was persecuted at 33, as I understand, but yet and still he rose again in our hearts and our minds. Okay, he's still alive and well, and he's still kicking. And I'm sure that Charlie's wife is going to carry his spirit, carry his legacy forward, because she knows that this is what he wanted. This is what we as Americans need, which is controversy, conversation. We need peace of mind to sit down and to share thoughts. Okay, as I said before, when I ran for mayor back in 1977, okay, I was 27 years old. Okay, I didn't just come on board and speak about issues to just create problems. I never thought about being an elected official to a point where I needed it, because that was not my never cup of tea. My cup of tea was always speaking truth to power. As you see here, I was with the mayor, Mayor Mandanese, Ralph Cinema, and a number of other officials who ran for mayor back in 1977, okay? And that's why I say to the mayor, Joe Ganim, you had your second chance. Give me mine. I'm not asking for no breaks. I'm not asking you to give me no more than what I deserve, okay? And if you find that wrong was wrong, you should be willing to come forward and to share that information. It's not about you doing something that you should not do, okay? You had your second chance. Nita had his second chance. Newton had his second chance. George had his second chance. We all have to be given a second chance. But give me one chance to be able to prove my innocence. That's what they ask you to do. This letter says very clearly, show Cecil Young and show them that whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating me. What's so hard in doing that, okay? If the city was wrong, honor that, okay? That is why when we talk about community policing and other things, you look at me as someone who's been around speaking about issues all my life. I speak about issues all my life because that's what God has put me here to do, okay? And I don't do it because I feel like, okay, I don't have to because I want to. I do it because I want to, okay? Look at this here. This is a kitchen sink Raw sewage backing up to this lady's house in P.T. Barnum. Raw sewage all backed up in her apartment because of that 12-unit apartment building. When the sewage gets jammed up because of Kotex or whatever else may be thrown in the line, it backs up in people's houses and their sinks, and they have to clean that human waste out. And that's why I said for the city in 2025 to have old-fashioned ways of catching the raw sewage once they unclog the lines and put them in household trash cans is a shame and a disgrace. This should be a container designed to unloose that sewage and allow it to go in a container where it will be safe for our kids, so it won't create the kind of problem that it created here with this lady's house, where her whole household folding neat clothes, clean clothes, fold neat and print, but yet and still mouse droppings all up there where kids play at, toys play at, in a dresser drawer, throughout the whole house. Why? Because of the raw sewage, okay? Raw sewage that men from the house, so they'll wash it off their boots because they walked in it after they tipped the buckets over, because they couldn't slide it over, because it does not have wheels under these trash old garbage cans. These are household trash cans that bird feeds off of the sewage and whatever they picked up in that sewer during the time when they dumped that barrel over to get that sewage off of their foots and off of their uniform. It was a sunny day that day, but yet and still the birds, the seagulls was out waiting to prey out what was left out there that they can live and survive with. And again, I say to the people of the city of Bridgeport, this is sewage water from the sewage plant. And thank God that day I decided to make me a cup of coffee, and before I decided to mix it and put it in there what it needed to be put in there, thank God when I turned the faucet off and I found out that what came out was this. This came out of my tap water system, okay? So before you drink your water, look at it, run it a while, clear it up, because sometimes the sewage plant gets overwhelmed in water and it overflows and the treatment is not there all the time, okay? And even sometimes when it is treated, it still may have these kind of problems. So let your water run a little while. And again, I say, I need help. I need someone to help me get this matter taken care of. My attorney, John Williams, okay, claimed to represent me to be fair and impartial. I paid this man $10,000. I never in my life paid no one $10,000 to do anything in my life. But for me to pay attorney Williams $10,000 and he never showed up in court, I say to the Supreme Court, I say to the judge, okay, to the power that be, give me my day in court. Have that judge reopen my file. Instead of punishing me, punish my attorney, John Williams, who lives in New Haven. He's the one who persecuted me. He was the one who I gave my $10,000 to, who promised he would show up in court. He never did, not one time. He never did, not one time. The only time he did was when I sued him and had him come to Superior Court on Golden Hill Street, okay, because I filed a claim against him on Golden Hill Street. And you know he had the audacity to show up there. Why? Because he feared being sued. If that's what the judge would have did to him being sued, maybe he would have showed up on my behalf. And he had the audacity to ask me to look out for him. Why am I doing this to him? Why am I bringing him to court? I brought you to court because, John Williams, you robbed me. You promised me that you would represent me like you represented yourself, but you did not do that. You lied. You perpetrated a fraud. And I say to the public at large, please go to my website, download Soundview Media, or either go to YouTube. YouTube will give you a whole host of shows that I've did over the last 3 years, pointing out in black and white, helping me. I need someone that got balls and galls that willing to stand up for what is right, not what is wrong. I'm pleading with those powers to be. Don't let them work away from me and treat me like I am. I am not a foreigner. I am an American citizen. I am a homeowner. I'm a taxpayer. And I said to the city of Bridgeport and those people who I claimed and accused of committing fraud, if I said something I can't back up, please sue me. Sue me. Take me to court, y'all. I've tried to do it legally. I tried to do it properly. I know what I'm going to end up doing, probably end up going to jail, because I'm not going to let this go. So I'm pleading with you before I beat myself in a situation where that has to happen. Please, someone respond to me. Ask the Connecticut Post, ask WICC to investigate these allegations about what they did to me, because dear good the grace of God could be you next. Huh? Somebody's beating my brother, and it's been going on too long. How much longer are we going to be silent when we know they've done him wrong? Please, my sisters and brothers, help me, help you, help yourself, for tomorrow may be too late. I thank you for listening to the show. You can always download the show on Soundview Media or on YouTube. Tune me in, Cecil Young, community activist, a man of action, a man that cared and dared to care for 65 years. I'm 75 years old. I can't do it too much longer the way I've been doing it, so I'm going to get dramatic, and it may end up leading me to go to jail, but that's all right, too. I lost a lot, and I'm not giving up. Thank you for listening to the show. Hope to see you next week, for the best is still yet to come.